The Xbox Summer Sale is finally coming to an end this week, and you have until the 1st of August to take advantage of these insane sales. That means you have 48 hours from this video going live to grab some ridiculous discounts for huge AAA games to indie titles and everything in between. We have 15 games to run through today, and all of them are at the lowest price points that we've ever seen before. Before we do dive in though, as always, I do give away a free Xbox game every single week on these sales videos. All you have to do is just leave a comment below about anything relating to Xbox and you're automatically entered. Congratulations to last week's winner, just hit me up on our awesome Discord server and I will get that game right over to you. Now with that out of the way, let's dive right into the games you need to pick up as soon as possible. First up, and if you love beautifully drawn melancholic worlds, then Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist should definitely be on your radar. This is a 2D action RPG that's actually set in a ruined kingdom that's overrun by mysterious poisonous mist, and you'll play as a girl named Lilac. You basically awaken in the middle of what's called the Forgotten War. You'll be summoning guardian spirits to fight by your side as you uncover the world's grim backstory. The combat is very tight with customizable spirit loadouts, and the progression system is really satisfying as well without being too overwhelming. Visually, as you can probably see on the screen right now, it's absolutely stunning with hand-painted environments, fluid animations, and an emotional soundtrack that sets the mood pretty perfectly. If you enjoyed Ender Lilies, Blasphemous, or even Hollow Knight, this spiritual successor delivers on every single front, and right now it's just £13.64 with a 35% discount. Have you ever wanted to clean a Mars rover, a haunted house, or SpongeBob's pineapple under the sea? Well, PowerWash Simulator makes the oddly specific and incredibly satisfying dream come true. For just £10 this week, this therapeutic first-person cleaner lets you scrub away the filth from all sorts of bizarre locations with nothing but water pressure and your patience. It's not action-packed either, but that's kind of the point here. The soothing gameplay loop, chill soundtrack, and calming visuals make it perfect for zoning out or even podcast gaming. There's a story mode, challenge modes, and even cooperative modes, so you can tag team with your friends for maximum sparkle. Also, with the DLCs featuring Final Fantasy VII, Warhammer 40,000, and so much more, there's a ton of unexpected content hidden behind the suds. Trust me, once you start this one, it's really hard to stop, and it'll be your next addictive gem. Let's head into the deep space with Everspace 2, and currently it's going for £13.49 thanks to a whopping 70% discount. This is a space combat RPG that really leans hard into looter-shooter elements, giving you fast-paced dogfights, an open galaxy to explore, and tons of customization for your very own ship. In this one, you'll play as a man named Adam, and he's a clone pilot trying to find meaning in a universe that sees him as disposable. The story is actually surprisingly engaging though, and the voice acting is pretty great here, but the gameplay loop is where the game really does shine. Between story missions, you'll be chasing down distress signals, mine asteroid belts, and even explore ancient alien ruins, and then you'll also be blasting some pirates out of orbit. Ships here do range from nimble scouts to heavy gunboats, each of them with their own unique playstyles. If Star Wars Squadrons was too limiting and No Man's Sky was too open-ended, then this one is the sweet spot for this week. A game that only released as of the last year and is already at a massive discount is Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, and it's now only £8.37 with a staggering 75% off. This one though is set in a mythological world where gods have returned to wreak havoc, and this brutal third-person action RPG throws you into the fight as Nor Vanek, and she's an elite warrior that's armed with an axe, a flintlock pistol, and a magical fox companion. Combat here, as you can probably see on screen right now, is aggressive and fast, with a satisfying blend of melee combos, parries, and gunplay. Enki, which is your trusted companion, also adds a layer of magical support, letting you string together flashy attacks and environmental traversal. The world here is also semi-open world, with handcrafted areas that's full of secrets, ambushes, and also tons of lore. I do know that this one was widely criticized on release due to the whole Sweet Baby Inc. sort of fiasco, but beneath the hood here is actually one good action RPG, and it was really overlooked upon its launch. I actually did quite enjoy this one, and if you want to check out my review here on the channel, you can do so with the card on screen now. If you're looking to combine dark fantasy and tactical combat in one brilliant package, then King Arthur Knight's Tale, which is currently 70% off, is well worth picking up for this week. In this one, you basically step into the cursed boots of Sir Mordred, and yes, that is the villain, resurrected to take down King Arthur, who's basically been twisted into an undead abomination threatening all of Camelot. The combat here does play a lot like the turn-based games like XCOM, but is set in a gothic fairy tale. Every move of course sort of matters in these experiences, and also your knights here can die permanently. Relationships also do change based on the choices you make, so every victory definitely feels earned. Outside of combat though, there's kingdom management, character development, and tough moral decisions that shape the fate of the entirety of Avalon. With its very unique spin on Arthurian lore and deep tactical gameplay, this one's a standout for fans of strategy games and also darker storytelling moments. Okay, let's be real, Doom 2016 at £3 is basically daylight robbery. I mean, this game redefined what modern first-person shooters could actually feel like. There's no reloading, no cover system, and no hiding. You're constantly moving, ripping through demons with shotguns, chainsaws, and just whatever else you can find lurking around. It's really raw and chaotic and so satisfying. I do still remember the time when I fired up the campaign and that soundtrack absolutely kicked in. I did grin like an idiot for hours, and I still love diving into it from time to time, especially in 2025. The game though really respects your time and rewards aggression, making every arena encounter feel like a brutal ballet. If you've never played it or just want to revisit it on your Xbox consoles, then now's the time, because just under £3 is an absolute must-have for this week. Death Stranding is a very weird experience, and you're probably all aware of it at this point in time, but it's also a brilliant game, and I do love how different it actually dared to be. You're essentially a post-apocalyptic delivery man trying to reconnect a fractured America. It does sound pretty boring at that extent, but it's anything but that. The director's cut also adds some brand new tools, missions, and even a racetrack, but it's still about that atmosphere, the haunting landscapes, and that sense of quiet purpose. It's £14 right now with this 60% off discount, and honestly, the visuals alone are well worth that price point. I found something kind of therapeutic here in that sort of solitude, as you'll be plotting out different routes, balancing your cargo, and slowly building different connections. Plus, the story is just classic Kojima, bizarre, deep, and totally unforgettable. It's certainly not a game for everyone, but if it clicks with you, it really does stick. Now, this next one totally surprised me. Marvel's Midnight Suns really flew under the radar for a lot of people out there, but at £9 this week, it's one of the most fun and original Marvel games that I've ever played. It's from the team behind XCOM, but instead of the grid-based strategy games, you're actually getting deck-based tactical combat, so it's very fast, flashy, and surprisingly deep. What I did love most about this one though was actually the character interactions. You basically hang out with heroes like Blade, Iron Man, and Ghost Rider at your home base, building friendships and then unlocking unique combos in your own battles. It's weirdly cozy between each mission and absolutely explosive during each of them. If you're into strategy games or just want a new take on that Marvel universe, this one's an absolute gem, and this is actually the lowest price point that we've ever seen it before. I still can't believe how good Lies of P actually turned out to be. It's a Souls-like that's inspired by Pinocchio, and it sounds ridiculous on paper, but it works, and it works bloody well. The combat here is very crisp and responsive, the enemy design is very creepy and creative, and the story actually has some surprising depth about it, which I really didn't expect upon booting it up. At £25, you're getting a massive quality game for half the price point. What really stuck with me though was the setting. That Belle Epoch Nightmare vibes with the puppet monsters and twisted fairy tale lore was just so fantastic. There's also a clever lie or truth system that does change the story depending on how honest you are, and I think that's a really clever way of bringing us a new Souls-like. If you're a fan of Bloodborne or even Sekiro, this is the closest thing that you've got to it on your Xbox consoles. It really absolutely deserves a spot in your library if you haven't purchased it already, and I have to say the DLC is also pretty incredible. Eldest Souls is a brutal action game with tight pixel art and a gorgeous moody soundtrack, and right now it's just £1.69, which is such insane value. Every fight here is a test of your patience, timing, and your skill. There's no filler and no fluff, just you versus towering godlike bosses in unforgiving duels. What I admire about this one though is its challenge. You don't win in Eldest Souls by grinding, you do win by getting better. It really does emphasize the meaning of get good. The game forces you to adapt, learn patterns, and think carefully about your build, and when it's finally time to take down a boss after 20 tries, it's one of the best feelings in all of gaming. It's a small and more focused indie experience, but it's very intense, and for the price of a coffee, you've got hours of tightly designed action at your fingertips. Astroneer is one of the games that I always recommend here on the channel, and it quietly crept into my heart about a year ago or so now. At £7.83, it really is a fantastic pick if you love sort of chill exploration games with just enough survival mechanics to keep things very interesting. In this one, you're basically dropped onto vibrant alien planets with only a spacesuit and a dream, and from there you'll be gathering resources, building your own bases, and slowly taming the entire landscape. What I do really love here is just how freeform it actually feels. There's no combat, no stress, and it's just a curiosity that's driving your next step. The terrain deformation tools also let you dig and sculpt the environment however you like, and the multiplayer makes it absolutely even better. I've lost countless hours into this one just building weird contraptions or digging tunnels into the planet's core. It's beautiful, relaxing, and deceptively deep, and especially for under £8, it's well worth picking up. Furi is all boss fights and no filler, and it's an absolute blast. At just under £5, you're getting a lightning-fast, synth-fueled action game that blends precision, sword fighting, and bullet hell chaos into one package. Every encounter in this one feels like a duel, not just in its mechanics, but also its mood, and you're not just hacking away, you'll be learning patterns, reading tells, and then striking at the perfect moments. What kept me coming back to this one though is its flow. It's very tight, focused, and incredibly stylish. The art direction here is also quite sharp, and the music is absolutely phenomenal. Seriously, the soundtrack is an absolute masterpiece, as every boss has its own theme, arena, and backstory, and it's an utter adrenaline rush. It is quite challenging for sure, but very fair, and when you nail that perfect dodge parry slash combo, it's just pure adrenaline. It's one of my favourite under the radar gems on all of Xbox consoles, and this price is absolutely wild in the summer sale. This next one I have to say is very emotional. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake is currently £6.89, and honestly that's a steal for one of the most unique storytelling experiences in all of gaming. You basically control both brothers simultaneously, each of them using one analog stick, and that alone creates a sort of beautiful wordless bond as they journey through a fairy tale world filled with wonder and also tragedy. The remake gives it a fresh coat of paint though, with updated visuals and a stronger atmosphere, but the heart of this game really hasn't changed, and I have to say that really is the strong point of the overall experience. I still remember playing the original and being floored just how the gameplay itself told the story. It is short, maybe around 4 hours or so, but it's the kind of game that stays with you long after the credits roll. If you haven't experienced this one before, now's the perfect time to do so, and I highly recommend it as you won't regret it. Let's talk about NieR Automata, because at £13.99, the Become as Gods edition is a no-brainer, especially at that price point. This game is an absolute masterpiece. It combines fast-paced, platinum-style combat with an emotionally devastating sci-fi story that really goes to places that I never truly expected. You basically play as androids fighting for humanity in a world that's already kind of forgotten what humanity even means. What I really adored though is just how this gameplay constantly shifts. 1 second is hack and slash, and the next is bullet hell, and yet it always feels very polished and never out of place. The soundtrack, well, it's one of the best in gaming. The story is also very mind-bending, layered, and totally unforgettable, and all of that combined, you've got such an excellent package. I have replayed this one now multiple times, and I still discover some brand new details. So whether you're into action, narrative, or want something truly different, NieR Automata delivers on every single level. Final Fantasy XV Royal Edition is currently down to £12, and this version is the best one to get as it includes all of the DLC, expanded story beats, and a bunch of quality of life improvements for your Xbox Series consoles. In this one, you basically follow Prince Noctis and his crew of bros on a road trip across a kingdom on the brink of war. It's very stylish, cinematic, and filled with heart, even at its weirdest moments. What made me fall in love though was its party dynamic. The banter, the photography, the campfire chats, it all kind of adds a layer of realism to this fantasy epic. Also, when the story ramps up, it really does hit. The combat is also flashy and fast, the world is massive, and the soundtrack, as always with any kind of Final Fantasy game, is really top tier. I recently dove into Final Fantasy XVI since that landed on both the Xbox Series X and S, and I had to dive back into Final Fantasy XV, and I have to say, if you like the combat of 16, then you'll love Final Fantasy XV. I have to say, it's easily one of the most ambitious and emotionally resonant entries in the entire series, and it's well worth it at this low price point. So, what game are you looking to pick up this week before the summer sale ends? You'll have to let me know down below. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Xbox content every single day. Whilst you're here though, why don't you check out my video on screen now, as I cover the 10 things that you need to know about Grounded 2 before you dive into its early access period.